Let's have a great way to see it out. I think coming from these two, maybe we see that same joviality. Maybe we tighten it up and we get real serious with it.
Oh, absolutely. You can see the dedication on Anton's face here. I think when you get to this bit, you're not messing around. Beforehand, I was in the room, and yeah, generally people were laughing. So I think it's a good atmosphere at the moment.
That's exactly what you want to see, right? So Anton plays at Darksphere down in London on Team Sigil. You've seen the jackets all weekend. I think we've talked about them a few times as well. Did really well in the draft, going 5-1 on Enigma the whole way through. We saw 2 of those games on stream. Those just really, really strong instant auras saying, I've got so many of them in my deck. I can protect them. I can let them go. I can have that push-pull back and forth. Exactly what you want to be doing. And some of those finishes are pretty good. Top 32 at a calling it's not a bad spot to be.
Absolutely, and all in the last year. So this is really good warming up. And to have top 4 of the national championships as well, Anton's really a consistent player in this field.
Definitely. And consistent player, consistent hero. Dash is so good at that.
Absolutely. Over to Andrew. Yeah, Andrew, he's been a grinder. I hung out with him a lot at the Pro Tour LA, and he's really been hitting hard in this game over the last few years. So he's up in Scotland, and he's got 2 ProQuest wins and 2 RTN wins. But don't put that against these top 32 callings. Honestly, Andrew has really put on the work in this field, and I would not underestimate him at all. And of course, he's LGS at Thistle Tavern, one of our sponsors, and as you can see, he's got the proud Thistle Tavern t-shirt at the moment. And I see the Scottish team have called themselves the tryhards, which I think is putting themselves down a bit. Like you're not tryhard if you're in the top 4.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you're reclaiming it. You're saying, yeah, we are trying hard. We're putting in the work. We are developing this Ripride deck. I think we've had people come up to us all weekend saying, hey, we're proud of this Ripride deck, right? Let's talk about it. Let's show it off. And I think what better way to show it off than to show it in practice in Andrew's hands, making his way through the top 8 here.
So it looks like the players are just getting ready, just the final shuffle. They've both gone for the green sleeves, so we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, Dash has been good forever, but Dash has never been the best forever. Well, I guess arguably during Crucible, but I think that was a bit of an unexplored time. Importantly, Anton gets to decide who goes first here.
Yes.
And in a matchup where if you're deciding you're being super aggressive, that might be super, super important. Again, so we're planning on some degree of aggression here. We don't want to brick up anything on Andrew's side. We are running that Driftwood Quiver. We're not trying to run that Quiver Rustling Leaves with those extra blues, because all those blues you want to be playing out anyways.
And immediately we see Pounder on the field, so this is going to be a very fast and very hard matchup. So yes, I'm expecting both of them to go aggro here, and we'll see how that plays. Because obviously, if you're pumping your first attack, it's going to have go again, and it's going to be higher in its base, which is great for Riptide's traps.
Yep. But then again, if you're attacking for +2 with go again, I don't think you're complaining about taking 1 damage on the backside, because you're not super worried about a lot of those effects. You're not playing out any attack reaction, so you're not getting that blood rot. Maybe inertia can be really annoying sometimes, but other than that, I reckon you'll be all right. And so we're seeing 2 maximum velocities and a high octane in Anton's opening hand. So might be a great time. Load up that pistol, arsenal, hope to draw those boost cards in a blue, and just let it roll.
Pitching where that maximum velocity does not want to see it at that point of this part of the game, but maybe Arsenal in the second one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're pitching the high octane, presumably reloading into that pistol as well, and then playing that Teklo core for free with the action point, arsenaling the other maximum velocity. Anton is going to be ready for an absolute blind river turn next turn. This is exactly what you want to do when you're going first. You're arsenaling one of your power cards, you're developing your Teklo core, and more importantly, by not letting Andrew go first, you're not letting him start the game with a 6-card hand.
Absolutely. And now we're launching into the first of the Riptide's turns on Andrew's side. So Falcon Wing, not the most powerful arrow, but as we saw previously, sometimes Riptide just really needs that go again to get some damage in.
Definitely. And, so 3 damage go again. I think Falcon Wing is really skipped over as an arrow. Everyone goes, it doesn't have an on hit. It's just 3 damage. Who cares? But that 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage over all 3 copies adds up to 9 damage. That's a good amount of life over the course of the game. Unfortunately, starting with that Falcon Wing, probably not what you want to see. Falcon Wing is one of those best cards to arsenal or leave face up there. It really allows those 6-card hands, those 3 arrow turns. But, you know, in this aggro matchup, you're looking at what Anton's doing. You're going, okay, Anton's going aggro. I also have to go aggro. I don't have that same armor suite that he does, right? We're looking at Anton, whose armor blocks 2, 4, 6, 7, possibly 8 or 9, depending on how effective that Stonewall Gauntlet becomes.
And with Ripride's ability, he can play out non-attack action cards to load up his arsenal. So
Absolutely.
he's not using that for Falcon Wing, but maybe he wants to save that just for maybe an arrow that does have a hit effect, because Falcon Wing, just plain damage.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's one of the philosophies is, do I give my Falcon Wing an on-hit effect and then play another arrow with an on-hit effect if you can sequence it that way? Or do you go, you know what, I'm throwing everything nasty on one arrow, give me your whole hand. I don't want to let you play out these big attacks.
Interestingly, we thought Anton would be going quite aggro with the pole in the sorry, thinking of my words in play, but actually he's the pounder, sorry, in play, but he's really he's thinking about blocking there.
Well, because again, with dash, you have those options. There are those good fundamental blocks. Wow. So Andrew, unfortunately, that Falcon Wing was that turn. Oh. Anton now has 5 cards, a pounder, and those 2 resources off a Tekla core. There's a high octane in there. The question is, does he have the boost? There's a throttle. There's a T-bone. So that's 2 boosts. And is that a zoom in the back? I don't know.
Quite see.
I might be a bit surprised if it is. But yeah, we are starting with that high octane. Drawing, really hoping we hit a boost here. It makes everything so much smoother, and it's twin drive.
Twin drive. Oh, and I believe there's a maximum velocity in Arsenal.
It definitely is.
So twin drive is exactly the card you want to see here.
Absolutely.
Allowing to boost twice makes that maximum velocity so much easier to hit.
And you've got that T-bone as well. So if you've just got that one blue, you can pitch. You can come in for a total of, 18 damage. Possibly even more off the pistol on the back end, and still possibly end up with an Arsenal card. You may be able to pop that throttle in Arsenal. So many good options available to Anton. It's just one of those, so many options, which one's technically the best. Sometimes bad hands are a lot easier to play because you go, all right, I'm going to block a little bit, I'm going to throw my one decent attack, or I'm going to block, I'm going to put my one good card in Arsenal. But when you're so fortunate to have all of these options...
So here we go, we're playing Twin Drive. The question is, does he boost twice? That will tell us a lot. And there we go, we've got the boost twice. We're losing some power cards there in the form of Pulse Wave Harpoon, but right now I don't think Anton's really going to mind.
Yeah. Pulse Wave Harpoon is really good on disruption. You can, try to steal that Riptide arrow, that key Riptide arrow, or that one, maybe even, a trap in an interesting way. But yeah, Andrew seems happy to block here.
Okay. The next attack, so Tar Pit Trap triggers, because it's a blocked attack with Go Again. That stops the on-hit effect of Dash, but really Dash doesn't have an awful lot of on-hit effect, so maybe Dash doesn't care apart from that one damage going through. And the other thing to note is the High Octane with the Twin Drive. It's really comboing well together with this synergy there to create 2 action points for Dash. So I'd be quite scared right now if I was Andrew.
Absolutely. And we know there's still a throttle, there's still a maximum velocity. We can also sneak out an extra resource by using that Teklo Foundry Heart, because I think, I'm assuming this deck is not going to have any misses. If your plan is to boost the whole way through and run those maximum velocities, I'd be surprised if you get scuppered by, a CNC or a Sink Below. Maybe you're sneaking in that one Tome of Fyendel and using those boots as the emergency supply there.
Interesting, Anton deciding to throw the pistol because he has the extra action points. Why not throw it now?
Yep. Throwing the pistol, he's got the action points. He's going to have the resources to do something on the back end. He's got a 0 to 60 in hand too. Is that a blue 0 to 60?
I believe it's blue.
Oh, that allows you to pay for that throttle, to pay for that maximum velocity, and pay for a couple more pistol shots as well once you use that Teklo Foundry Heart. Absolutely phenomenal. This is exactly what you want to be seeing as a Dash player this early in the game.
Will he even maybe want to just play that 0 to 60 just to get another boost in, because he's got the maximum velocity resources anyway and 2 floating, so he may not even pitch it. We'll see how it goes, because he hasn't got the action points right now to be able to effectively use the pistol that many times.
I think he will, because if he gets another one off the throttle, then the maximum velocity, and then he'll still have enough for, I believe, 2 on the back end.
You're right. This turn is turning into quite a beast.
Yeah.
And
Andrew, again, happy to block, playing defensive. You know, did he bring 70 cards? Is he going for fatigue? My guess is no, on the basis that it's not Quiver of Abyssal Depths, it's Driftwood Quiver instead. But sometimes you just have to go, okay, you know, you've drawn the best possible set of cards, you've got the nuts, you know, I'm going to block it out and see what happens.
Absolutely. And we're also seeing there's 15 damage on the board, and we've not even played the maximum velocity yet. This turn is insane.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Dash wants to see, and without any setup, it's the second turn.
Well, I'd argue there was setup because your turn, Anton's turn 0 was play Teklo Core, Arsenal Maximum Velocity. I think that's the best setup Dash is going to have in this aggro matchup. You know, I doubt you're angling to set up those induction chambers if the game goes long. Maybe it's your super backup plan and you're running one copy, but, you know, you doubt it because this deck seems to be running really clean, really smooth. There's only cards that I want to play every turn in this big loop.
And of course, banishing the second Pulse Wave Harpoon there. So 2 power cards gone. But right now, I believe this damage is another 10. So I believe this might be a 29 damage turn.
Was it that much?
I was counting, yes. So it's 13 plus 3 pistol shots and then into maximum velocity. I think that might be 29.
Possibly, or somewhere between 25 and 29.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
A lot of damage.
With all those pistol shots, sometimes it's hard to keep track of. And so, yeah, Andrew took an absolute slamming on his life there and on his cards. And Anton just gets to go again. Gets those 2 free resources.
Wow.
And he's drawn another maximum velocity.
So that's the third one. We know the second one's in the bottom, at the bottom of the deck. So the question is, can he set up 2 maximum velocities in one game? That's one hell of a strategy.
I think he's definitely planning to, because here you can boost with a Pulse Wave, it looks like. Well, there's a T-Bone, there's a Pulse Wave, and possibly something else that can boost. You've got the 2 resources. It's a great way to disrupt some of the stuff that Andrew has. The T-Bones aren't going to be doing much while he's holding Bullseye Bracers and Snapdragon Scalers, unless you manage to chain 3, which is probably not the damage that you're angling for. But lots of options here.
Absolutely. Dash just going for it and just wanting to keep that pressure up.
Yeah.
Because once you start letting Riptide hit you with those hit effects, you're going to feel it.
Well, but Riptide's got a lot of armor to chew through, right? That Crown of Providence always blocks 2. That Teklo Foundry Heart's going to block 2 and then 1. And then that Stonewall Gauntlet as well will be blocking for 2 whenever you use it, because Riptide loves buffing those arrows. You want to be blocking those buffed up arrows because that's when they get their nasty on hits.
And we're seeing now T-Bone boosted, so forcing an armor block, but just putting Snap Scalers in front of it. A great technique just to avoid any losing armor.
Yep, they block for 0, but they don't have Blade Break, so they still stick around.
Second one, a bit harder, but you've still got your Bullseye Bracers, so fantastic card. That's great to have back in the meta now that Lexi's been LL'd, so all Rangers are happy to have that back.
Definitely. It is just such a good card. It smooths out so many turns. And now that you have the option between that and Long Draw Half Glove, so here's that Pulse Wave that we saw. Now we're looking to disrupt this hand. So there's 2 targets there. There's that Seek and Destroy and that Lace with Blood Rot.
And the Enlightened Strike. The Enlightened Strike is really just a really flexible card for a deck like Riptide to be able to give the go again, draw a card, just do whatever you need to do in the given situation. So that's a really strong card just to be able to pluck out of the Riptide's hand. But it really depends about whether you think there's a 0-cost arrow or even a 1-cost arrow with the Tunic Live, whether that's in the arsenal or not.
Yep. And I believe, oh yes, less than or equal to that. So yeah, it's the full choice in this one. I got a little bit confused on the wording there. But yeah, you know, and fundamentally the gamble is, well, is that an arrow in Arsenal? If it's an arrow in Arsenal, you want to get one of those pumps gone. Yeah. If it's not an arrow in Arsenal, you want to get that E-Strike gone, because then you're left with 2 really awkward pumps.
Absolutely. And the other thing chat's noticing, that's 3 boosts. I think we might be in for another maximum velocity.
Yep, maximum velocity is online for this turn, using that 1 floating resource into Teklo Foundry Heart. And that just goes to show the absolute power of that Teklo core. 2 free resources for 2 turns is absolutely phenomenal.
I think this is the first time I've ever seen 2 back-to-back maximum velocity turns in 3 turns. This is absolutely incredible to see.
Yep, this is the dream of the first time you see maximum velocity way back in the day, you go, wow, that'd be great. And it was a joke for the longest time that, oh no, maximum velocity is only a popper. it never gets played. But as time has come along, as you've gotten more fantastic one cost boosts like Pulse Wave, fantastic 0 cost boosts like T-Bone, other really good enablers like Twin Drive, well, wow, all of a sudden I've gone from, 9 to 12 cards that can enable maximum velocity in my deck to 18 to 21. That's so much better numbers. Now you're running maximum velocity because it's your build towards. It's absolutely fantastic.
And we're seeing that in the life titles, 36 versus 14 before even playing at maximum velocity. But Anton's thinking. What could he be thinking? He's thinking he's lost all 3. He's played all 3 Pulse Waves now. So he's lost 2 Pulse Wave Harpoons to the Banish from Boost. And he's played out 1. So maybe they're thinking he doesn't want to be losing more power cards. But let's see. So he's closing the check. Yeah, he's going for it.
Oh, yeah. The alternative would be possibly shooting the pistol, arsenaling the maximum velocity, and waiting for another one of those massive, 25 damage turns rather than just a 20 damage turn, because that's what helps to really punch through.
Incredible.
And, again,
and we go for it. So
yep.
3 turns with 2 maximum velocities. Absolutely incredible work from Anton. And still got that pound alive.
Yeah, there is still one more counter on that pounder. Absolutely crazy. And again, look at that fantastically playable hand. Assuming one of those cards is a resource card, we're going to be seeing boost, boost, boost again coming from Anton. When Andrew's on 9, he's already starting to be forced, he's forced to respect some of those as they come down.
Absolutely. Andrew's just looking around, looking where the 3rd maximum velocity could be, but we know it's at the bottom of the deck. It's absolutely fine, Andrew.
Yeah, I think he's looking around, hoping are we sure he shuffled up before the game? We saw them shuffle, we saw them cut, but at a certain point you're like, wow, this truly is the dream state that you're looking for if you are playing as Dash.
Absolutely. 2 turns, or 3 turns. 2 proper turns, but 3 turns and already at 9 health. This is true aggro at its finest.
And that was around full blocks. I think we've had 47 damage presented across those 2 turns. We're now seeing how this Dash has been competing with Zens today. You are keeping it going.
Throttle for 8, and that's nigh on lethal at this point. Wow, this is going to be a very short game.
It's covering 3. Oh, Buzzsaw Trap.
So it goes down to 6, and he's now fully blocked.
Anytime
and it triggers.
Yep. Anytime a blue card can block 5, you're very happy, right? It's rare that Dash is ever going to boost anything, more than that. Maybe off of a combustible courier, but I feel like the best way to avoid that is just not letting it hit.
Absolutely, but Ripride still has so many 2 blocks. I don't think he's going to survive this onslaught of a aggro deck by fatigue.
Yeah, certainly not. Maybe when you had 25 life, but after you saw that second maximum velocity, or realistically even that first one at the end of such a big turn, you're probably like, okay, no. Even if you came in here with 70 cards hoping to fatigue, that plan's out the window after turn 2.
Absolutely, and of course, Tech Life Andrew Hart does involve boosting a lot of cards, and we've seen that with Twin Drive as well. So Dash is going to be lower on cards than she normally would be at this point in the game, but when your opponent's at 8 life, you really have the flexibility to not worry about that.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're just thinking about how we're going to finish this turn. So it may just be a piss.
Well, I think it comes down to, do you play the card, or do you load the pistol, shoot the pistol, arsenal the card, come in again later? Like, how much damage do you think Andrew, or rather not damage, you don't care about damage at this point, how much disruption can Andrew come back with if you do choose to arsenal rather than keep punching that damage forward? Because from this point on, you no longer have the pounder, you no longer have that Teklo core, you are going to need these 5-card turns to punch through. Because you've seen so many of those amazing premium reds come through already, right? That's the second red throttle we've seen go down. That's the second red 0 to 60. We've seen a red T-bone. We've seen all 3 pulse waves go by. And I'm sure plenty of more.
Absolutely, but Dash right now, the world's her oyster. Really, you can take all the time she likes just to slow things down if she really wanted to set up a really good 5-card hand. Yeah. So deciding to activate the Foundry Heart. And
again, 2 more premium red cards there. 0 cost boosts are really good. And there goes that zipper hit.
It's going to a 4 into a 5. It's 5, isn't it? Yeah.
It is indeed.
5 into a 2. Oof. This is painful to see on Andrew's side. Absolutely amazing to get Riptide this far, but it just looks like this is one hell of a match. And I don't know. Chat's saying I don't know who could survive this from Dash, and I couldn't tell you. It's absolutely hideous what Dash has been able to do in 3 turns.
maybe defensive old him with that perfectly timed ice react could potentially get there and barely squeak on by. But other than the most defensively insane hero, I think everybody else is on a hope and a prayer.
Absolutely. So just dragging up the hand. Oh no, and we see Rain raises in hand. This is terrible for Ripride. A no block. Now Pounder's gone, but when you're holding 9 block maximum on 3 health, and maybe you might have a 2 block in there. So
yeah,
this is
yeah. So we're choosing to pitch the
painful.
Pounder rather than set up. When your opponent's on 3 life, you know they're not Prism. They don't have that board state. You're probably fine trying to punch your way through.
Okay, down to 2. Let's see if Dash can close this.
I think we have Zipper Hit and T-Bone, but I think they might be off color. So it'll be, but at this point, even if they're, you know, off color cards, they're still enough to draw blocks out when you're on 2 life. So we can go play the Zipper Hit. Oh, it's a yellow, so it's not that, it's better than the blue. It's going to demand, you know, a card and probably some armor.
Giving that Arsenal, of course, we've not seen that Arsenal played from Andrew, but it looks like if he hasn't played it with the Tunic live, the question is what is in there, and it probably isn't an arrow.
Yeah, it's maybe it's another E-Strike that you really need that second card that he's just not been able to afford to hold on to. Maybe, I don't know. It could be a lot of things.
We'll be seeing in a second once you block with New Horizons, you're giving up Arsenal. So
you definitely are. We'll find out.
We'll see what goes there. And unfortunately, just not been able to utilize New Horizons this matchup. That Arsenal's just been sat dormant. Oh, okay. It was a Bolton shot. So it was a arrow, but really wanting to combine that arrow with something else.
You want to definitely play it with something else. So here, closing the chain, 1, to make sure you destroy that Bolton shot in case it is, you know, the best slow play, tricky trap down there, and also to trigger that Teklo Foundry Heart as well. So we've loaded up the pistol, we're shooting the pistol, and it looks like we're choosing to arsenal that final card here.
Yes.
Knowing that, you know, you're leaving Andrew with 1 card in hand, you've got 35 life. That 1 card, even if it's a Codex, you're fine with it.
The one good thing about Rain Razors is at least you can arsenal it, but it may not be enough yet. We're just...
There's the T-Bone, so we've popped those boots.
Fantastic play from Andrew, but I just don't know what can survive that onslaught from Anton.
I don't think anybody could. Realistically, Anton, you know, came in here at the higher seed, so he got to choose. He clearly made the right choice. Even when Dash is aggro, you want to be setting up.
And Anton's at 12-1. He's been obliterating Swiss and just cutting through the top 8. So a worthy champion to go, or worthy competitor to go through to the finals of the championships.
So I think we're still waiting on word, because that was a real quick round. We're waiting on word for who he's going to be seeing on the other side. Yes. It's either going to be a Prism or it's going to be a Zen.
Should we talk a bit about that matchup, because we didn't before? So what do you think about Prism versus Zen?
I think I don't know. It's a lot of dependencies. It's a lot of who's sideboarding what. There are a lot of Zens running around with a good amount of poppers. Well, I should say 6 poppers that you're mostly running for the Zen Mirror, right? Those disruptive 6s, those weakest links, those command and conquers. Those are solid options we've seen on stream. However, Prisms nowadays are leading really, really hard into that Herald of Triumph and to that Figment of Triumph plan. So those poppers lose a little bit of value. You know, it might still save you on that Herald of Erudition, and I think Zen's Armor Suite also really helps for that. But again, Prism has that halo. You can get that Figment out, you can turn it into an Angel, you can snowball and build your own combo turn the same way that Zen can.
Absolutely. They're aggro in 2 completely different ways, aren't they? Neither of them want to block, and neither of them really... well, Prism cares a lot more about hitting than Zen does, because the major thing that really characterizes Zen is those bonds are going to activate whether you block or not. So
exactly,
it really becomes I don't care what you're doing because I'm just going to do my own thing. Whereas Prism actually says, I don't care if you think you can do your own thing, interact with me. So it's a really interesting matchup, and we'll wait to see the results of that.
I think as Zen, what you want to do is you want to transcend as early as you possibly can, because then your armor suite is fully live to full block a Herald, get that combo back, and shred through anything that Prism has managed to build up on the way down.
Oh, absolutely. Once you've got that the Traverse active through that Transcendent card, it's like the whole game just opens up, and you're just waiting just to pull the trigger and set out a big turn. So we'll hear about what happens from there, but until then, we'll tune up with you guys soon. Okay, thanks everyone.